So I came into this world as a twin sister, and just because we had the same birthday didn't mean we were the same person. So the comparison game started pretty quickly as a young child with my mother constantly comparing us, and we were completely opposite. She was pretty, she was smart, she was, athletic, did the typical sport track. I was the shy one, the too skinny one, the one that played golf, and I reminded everything about my father to my mother. And so I was kind of isolated in my own way as a child, which really planted the seed of not being a good enough person, good enough for anybody, good enough for my mom, good enough for my sister, good enough for friends. I didn't have that. I was bullied, I was teased, and I really just kind of stayed to myself and stayed quiet. And then, as I grew up and was on my own, I moved away because I wanted to get far, far away from the trauma I endured as a child. And I was like, oh, I'm an adult now. Let's get into a relationship. And I met this charming man who was in the golf industry like I was. Everything I thought I wanted for a partner. Started out great. And then the abuse happened. But I didn't know I was being abused until my boss told me to research the red flags of abuse. And as I'm sitting at my computer, I'm checking one off and another one and another one until the list was done and I had checked every single one off. And I realized, oh my gosh, this is my life. How in the world did I get into an abusive relationship? How could I be so stupid? But in fact, I wasn't stupid. The monster was just very manipulative and good at what he did. So one day, coming home between jobs, I flipped. But it wasn't me that flipped, it was the little girl inside me that flipped and said, we're done. We're not doing this anymore. And we kicked the monster out, and the court case started and all of the things. And while my world was in complete shambles and chaos around me, I wanted to do one thing, and that was control what I could control, because my control had been taken away from the monster and it still wasn't in my grasp. So I started bodybuilding and controlling everything I was eating, everything I was doing, because that was the one thing I could do. And I competed in a competition. I did wonderful. I did great. I loved it. I was addicted, and it was my world. But I wasn't dealing with the hard stuff until my second show, and I didn't do as well as I thought I should have done. The comparison game came back, and it came back with vengeance. And so I went down to the dressing room after my competition, and I cried, and I started beating myself up verbally because I had nobody to abuse me but myself. So I started abusing myself. And two women that happened to be in the dressing room that I didn't know were there came over and said, don't you dare do this to yourself. Do you know how much guts it takes to do what you just did? And from there I realized I might look great on the outside, but I'm truly broken in the inside. So I sought help and therapy and really started diving into the deep stuff that I never dove into before. Because I was already broken when the monster found me. I just let him break me more. And getting help is what really saved me. And so I continue to get help today. I really think it's important that women and men, those that have been victims of domestic abuse, really understand that they're the ones that aren't broken. And I've been lucky enough that I found the love of my life, my husband, my honey bear, and we've been happily married for 9 years.